Hello guys, Furball the Hammy, your friendly neighborhood hamster, is here again for another Hypixel Skyblock video. You guys have been asking time and time again as to why I am using the explosive bow, and because of that I am going to be making a video specifically on as to why I love the explosive bow, and obviously while doing so I will be putting a comparison between the explosive bow, the mosquito bow, and the Runaan'sBow when I do slayers, and I did use all three bows in the slayers if you notice in the clip below. So yeah, while I'm using the three different bows, you can see what it looks like and what it feels like, and on top of that I will tell you guys why I love the explosive bow. So I will be rating the three bows based on three requisites. Number 1, spread. Spread is very obvious. It is also known as to how much area the bow can cover and kill mobs. Secondly, damage, the amount of damage a bow can deal, self-explanatory. And last but not least, cost, on how cheap the bow actually is. First up on the chopping block will be the Runaan'sBow, the most generic bow you can find on the market at the moment, with great power for less than 1 million coins. I know now it probably costs a bit more because now you cannot buy NPC materials, so you can't just buy the Runaan'sBow off the NPC for like 800,000 coins, so it might be slightly more expensive, but it's still cheap, right, for the power it gives. So now with that out of the way, I will now explain my ratings on the Runaan'sBow. First and foremost, spread. Runaan'sBow obviously comes in first because of its triple shot ability, which gives it a lot of spread. And for power, it comes in second because of its great stats. And for cost, it comes in second. As you can see the base cost of mats on the screen, it really isn't that expensive. It's just 3 stacks of enchanted bones and 3 stacks of enchanted string. Next up, the mosquito bow. Fun fact, I actually got 2 mosquito drops from Tarantula with less than 1000 tier 4s killed. My Tarantula luck is very strong. And with that, let's speed up the video and to tell you guys what I feel about the mosquito bow. First and foremost, spread. Obviously it comes in last and the dead last because it is the worst out of all 3 bows that I am using to compare in the video because of its singular arrow shot, which clearly does a lot of damage but doesn't have a lot of area. And for power, I think the mosquito bow can come in first or second. As mentioned earlier for Runaan's, I think it's very subjective. Under certain scenarios, mosquito's single arrow power shot is a lot better than Runaan's triple arrow shot, which the damage is split according to 3 arrows. Sometimes it is better for mosquito, sometimes it is better for Runaan's, but Runaan's generally does more damage with all 3 arrows. However, I know Runaan's does more damage, but mosquito bow's main arrow damage is a lot higher, and that is crucial, especially if you're doing slayers, since it does a higher damage on your arrows when you shoot a non-fully charged arrow shot, which allows your piercing arrows to kill everything in its wake, since piercing arrows take a 75% damage penalty. Now let us take this for an example. If you do 3000 damage with the main arrow of Runaan's on the non-fully charged bow shot, it's bad for tarantulas because the piercing arrow cannot deal with the voracious spiders with 1000 health behind it, because piercing takes away 75% of the original arrow's damage, which means that you will be doing less than 1000 damage on your piercing arrow shot, which means the voracious spiders behind the original arrow that you shot will not be killed, and that is not very good. And that's why in certain scenarios mosquito might be better, right? And last but not least, cost. Mosquito obviously comes in dead last for cost for how expensive it is. And last but not least, the explosive bow, the one we all love and the one I love dearly to this day, and I have not been sick and tired of, and I hope you guys aren't sick and tired of the booms and explosions. So first and foremost, spread. The explosive bow can come in first or second. It is subjective once again. The reason as to why I use the explosive bow is because of its spread sometimes, right? It is due to the ability for it to hit behind walls, which is something the other 2 bows cannot do, which is why the spread cannot be accurately rated because it's based on circumstance and you cannot compare an apple and a pear, right? Runaan's has a larger area of spread, but explosive bow has a larger area of spread behind walls, which is kind of different. You can't really compare that, you know. And for B power, I am not gonna dispute this. Explosive bow obviously comes in third, but it does go boom. Okay, basically it makes it so that if your piercing arrow with 25% damage doesn't kill the mob it hits behind, it will explode because of its natural ability. So basically the explosive bow will shoot an arrow at a spider, it will kill the first spider, but then the spider behind will not be killed because of piercing's natural minus 75% damage. It will hit the spider behind it, it won't kill it, but it will then explode, and the explosion will do the same damage as the original arrow without piercing, which means it will kill the second spider behind it, as well as, since the explosion has an area of effect, it will also kill nearby spiders, right? So because of that, the piercing ability on the bow doesn't really make the explosive bow weaker, because it kind of explodes and does the original arrow damage. It doesn't really get affected too much by piercing, and because of that, I think the explosive bow isn't that bad in power and it doesn't harm it as badly, right? But obviously you don't see people using explosive bow for dragons, and that's very obvious why. So for cost, it is the cheapest out of all of the three, and it is the easiest to buy for the NPC. I know the bazaar exists and the NPC cap has been added, but I wrote this script 1 week ago, so yeah, it was before the bazaar was out, so now you can buy it from the bazaar or from auction house. It's still cheaper because you don't need enchanted string like the Runaan'sBow, you just need enchanted gunpowder. And last but not least, the explosive bow is fun. I know you guys may be asking, what is this doing here? Of course, I'm biased and I love the explosive bow, so in my opinion, it gets a fun rating. Judge me all you want, it's my video. Cause honestly, who doesn't enjoy blowing up the entire area when you grind slayers and hearing a boom sounds behind in your wake as you fire arrows? Ultimately, there are users for all three bows, and you can use them as you see fit. Here's a summary of the users of all three bows. For the Runaan'sBow, it is good for most users, and it is generally not that expensive. It is also great for dragons with tarantula armor specifically, and it is also great for general slayers. For the Mosquito Bow, it is expensive but a worthy investment. It's so obvious that it's in need for a desperate buff that I believe Hypixel will definitely buff or do something for it in the near future, so you might want to consider buying it while it's cheap now and turn it over when it gets buffed. Kind of a good investment actually. And the Mosquito Bow is also great for grinding in the Howling Caves because there is no need to weapon swap for the piercing to kill wolf, because the Mosquito Bow does a lot more damage on its main arrow, of course. And the Mosquito Bow is also the best bow to pair with the Elegant Tuxedo for dragons. Fun fact, actually, if you're using an Elegant Tuxedo, the Mosquito Bow is better. Fun fact actually. And last but not least, the Explosive Bow. The Explosive Bow is the cheapest, it hits behind walls for slayers, allows you to shoot blindly for people who can't aim like me, great for zealots, and is good for crypt ghouls due to the amount of walls in the crypts, because the explosions can hit crypt ghouls behind walls, and as you know, in the crypts there are a lot of walls, so the Explosive Bow does kind of shine there. And with that, these are the reasons as to why I use the Explosive Bow, and the next person will ask me why I use the Explosive Bow again, I will personally go down to your house and shoot an Explosive Bow. So with that, I wish you good luck, and this is Furball the Hammy, the hamster who loves explosions, signing out.